All right, there may be a time when somebody asks you to write them a letter of recommendation. It could be for a school or for a job, but it's an exciting opportunity to really share with some other people something great about a person that you know. Now, because it's so exciting, you may skip the first step that you need to do, and that is to ask some questions of that person. You don't want to go into writing a letter of recommendation without knowing some basic key information. So first thing you need to know is, what is the person's goal with the letter? So find out what it is they're going to be using the letter for, and then start to think about ways that you can write a letter to address that specific need. You want to find out exactly who will be receiving the letter, not just the name of a school, but you want to find out, if possible, the people that are going to be receiving this letter, because the more personal you can make the letter, the better it is going to go. You also want to ask what the tone of the letter should be. Is it need to be very, for lack of a better term, scientific and just to the point? And does it need to just be factual information, maybe about job performance or a specific thing that has happened? Or should it be more just upbeat and more personal, so it's maybe tied more to how that person responds in pressure situations, or maybe some of the amazing achievements that they've done that have just brightened people's lives? You need to find out kind of what the tone of the letter should be before you start. Are there specific skills or traits that need to be highlighted? So you need to find out from that person, are they looking to highlight some specific and key points of their day, or are they just looking for general information? You want to find that out as well. And you want to get the name and address of the person receiving the letter. So I can't say this one enough. Find all of the information out and get all of that address and everything, so you can have that letter completely finished and written as you go. Now, if some of this information is missing, you can also leave some things blank, but you got to feel kind of comfortable about that. You also want to find out what format they need the letter to be converted to. So sometimes, as students of mine would ask me, hey, I need a letter for college. The college wanted a PDF. And so I needed to make sure that I provided it in a PDF format just to make it simple. All right, so let's talk real quick before we write our letter about formatting. So you need to do 10 to 12 point font. You want Times New Roman, single spaced, 1-inch margins, and you want the header to have all the contact information. So we come back to that contact information that we have to have. We like a signature on this, and if you can put a real signature on it, it's better. It looks a little cheesy to have a letter of recommendation come in that just has a typed signature. It's much, much better if they can put a real signature on there. And I'm going to show you a way to do that on the Mac after we've completed the letter. All right, so we're going to open up Microsoft Word, and there's quite a few different letter types here, and we don't want to get hung up on too much of what there is. When you first load the program, you're going to have flyers and notes, and we're literally looking for just a professional letter. You have the business letter here, which you could probably start with, to be honest, and make this letter work, but I'm going to find something a little closer by typing in letter up in the upper right-hand corner here. And it's going to load some more templates, and it just basically helped me narrow my search for a template. Now I'm going to grab this reference letter for professional employee, and I'm going to double click it, and this is going to give me a letter that I can start to work with. Now you can see here it's going to have room for my information here. It's going to have room for the recipient's information here, and then it's going to have the body of our text. So let's go ahead and start to tweak this. I'm going to redo that part. So as you'll see here, it's got room up at the top for your contact information. It's got room for the recipient's contact information. It's got a couple paragraph body that's kind of done as a sample for us. It's got room for our position, title, and signature down here, and it's really everything we need. Now, we might want to print this off on some paper that is going to have our logo on it, so we might want to use maybe some office letterhead or something of that nature. You could also build that into the document as you print it if you'd like to. So this one's left blank so that if you do print it on office paperhead, it'll just work like it's supposed to. Let's go ahead and look at writing our information. So we're going to start by filling out and completing all of your information. All right, now that we have our information up here, let's go ahead and fill out our recipient information down here. Now, this will be the person that person that requested the letter from you. This is going to be where we put the information of where they're sending it to. So not the person who asked for the letter, but this is actually going to the person that the person who asked you for the letter is sending it to, if that makes sense. So this will be the end user, the final person who is going to get this letter that we're going to enter the information in here. All right, now that we've finished that information off, the natural thing is to actually address this to the person that we're sending this letter to. So your person, your friend who has asked you to write this letter for them, you're going to address this to the person they're sending this letter to. And if you can do that, that's the best. Now, if you're writing this letter as a general letter of recommendation that's going out to many people, you might do a to whom it may concern here. Now, it's not as formal and it's not as nice, so even if they're sending it out to 10 places, if you can get all 10 different names, that's far better than doing something where you're only sending it out as the to whom it may concern. Now, under this, you're going to start by typing in some paragraphs. Now, the key with the paragraphs is right here you can see I have essentially 3, but you're going to want to do between 1 to 3 paragraphs total for your document to the other person, and you're going to want to do the following stuff. So in paragraph 1, you're going to want to type in how you know this person and why your opinion matters. So this would be your friend that asked you to write this reference letter for him. You want to write something in this first paragraph that says, this is how I know that person, and this is why you're going to want to listen to the rest of my letter. So it's got to be something pretty good. So you might say that I have known my friend for 10 years and I've worked with them, or my coworker, or this employee, or this student, and you're going to want to establish that relationship connection. Now, paragraph 2, you're going to want to leave a space in between, and you're going to want to write some specific information in this paragraph, and it typically is going to be most of the information. And if it's for somebody who's got a lot of information, it could be 2 to 3 paragraphs long, but you want to keep this, again, as short and sweet as possible. But this second paragraph is going to be information about the person with specific examples of how they should be considered for the position or for the school or for whatever their goal was. So you're going to want to find examples based off of maybe your experience with that person, working with them, or being their friend, and you're going to want to really start to hone in on those specific things that'll make them the perfect candidate. And finally, your last paragraph is going to be very, very simple, and it can be as short as 1 to 2 sentences long, but it could also be 2 to 3, depending upon how you think you can wrap all of this up. But the idea is that this is going to be your final positive statement. This is going to be maybe something about why you would hire them again, reasons why they're valuable. You're going to add some piece of information in this third paragraph that you're going to really bring the entire document home. And the last thing you're going to do is you're going to finish this off with a signature. Now, I mentioned that you're going to want to be able to sign it, and so we're going to look at that in just a second. But I also wanted you to notice that you're going to put your name and you're going to put your title. So you want to put whatever title you currently hold in the example here so that it adds a little weight to the letter. All right, so we're going to pretend that this was our document. Now, I didn't fill out these paragraphs. You're going to fill those paragraphs out with the information that you have requested from your friend, and you're going to know all of the answers, and you're going to plug it in there. But what we're going to do is pretend this letter is done, and we're going to go ahead and save it. So we're going to go up to the button up here to save, and we're going to click Save. And it's going to ask us where we'd like to save this to. And I'm just going to save it as a desktop. I'm going to call it Letter of Rec. And then I want to convert this one to a PDF. And so right here, file format, Word document or PDF. Now, if I wanted to leave it to be editable by my colleague or coworker or friend who asked me for the letter, I could leave it in a Word document, but this would mean that they would have access to edit the document and make changes. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, a PDF is a great way of going. The PDF also allows us to write a signature on the page itself, which I think is also very beneficial. So let's go ahead and click PDF, and then let's hit save. So now I've saved a PDF to my desktop, and now we're going to look at actually adding a signature to that PDF. All right, so we're going to add a signature to our document. So I've got a document over here, my letter of recommendation. I'm going to double click it. Now when I'm in Mac, I am actually in what is called preview, and the preview is going to show me the view of my PDF, and I can read it and look at it, but it has some options, and one of them is in tools, and you go down to annotate, and then down to signature, and over to manage signatures. And it's going to give me two ways to input a signature into this document. One is via the trackpad. So I can use the little trackpad right below the space bar there to actually write one. You could use the mouse as well for that. A little more difficult. I also have the ability to use the camera if I choose. And if I use the camera, I'm going to write on a blank piece of paper, hold the piece of paper up in front of my camera, and it's going to take a snapshot of it and do the best it can. I'm going to go ahead and use the trackpad option. And I'm just going to, I'm just messing it up. This is going to be a really messy signature. And there we go. I've done it. Now I press any key when I'm finished, and that would be my signature. And if I messed it up like I did, I would hit clear. And then I'm going to click here to begin. I'm going to try to do a better job here. There we go. So press any key when finished, and now I have my signature. Now, if I want to add the signature to this document, I'm going to hit done, and it's going to add it into my list of signatures. So to add one to this location here on the document, I'm just going to tap on the signature, and it's going to put it in as a graphic. And then I'm going to be able to move that graphic right into the spot. I can even shrink it a little bit. And there we go, I have my signature. Now what's cool about this is a PDF. And now when I close it, when I reopen that letter of recommendation, that is embedded into the PDF, and it's there for good. So it is a permanent thing. The very minute I close that, that signature exists in this document. So it's a great way to sign something digitally and have it actually mean something. And it's going to be great when you send out letters to people and you have a real signature coming from your PDF.